So I'm just gonna get this out of the way. It has nothing to do with the video. But one year for Halloween, I dressed up as a bunny. I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea. Maybe I thought I'd be cute. But looking back at these old photos, I realize, man, I was cute. So me and my friends took trick-or-treating very seriously. There's no messing around. One year we practiced the path we would take a week before Halloween so our legs wouldn't get tired when the big day came. You have to be in top physical condition to go door to door and get free candy and then mess your whole body up again. So obviously now I'm a retired trick-or-treater, so I'm gonna pass down my wisdom to anyone out there who is still trick-or-treating. A lot of people will say, to get the good candy, you gotta map out the whole neighborhood. Skip the ones who have Milk Duds and Whoppers. Okay team, let's go. No, sometimes you can't. There was only one house in my neighborhood that gave out big candy, and my parents didn't want to drive me to the rich people neighborhood, so what are you gonna do? Well, me and my friends came up with a couple of ways to get the most out of your trick-or-treating. One time, my friend based his whole costume to maximize his candy pull. What did he dress up as? He dressed up as a newspaper delivery boy. What? That's really lame. No, it's actually really smart and genius. Let me explain. With his costume, he was able to ride a bike, and that let him go from house to house quicker, and it wasn't so hard on his legs. And also, his costume had a built-in candy bag. It's perfect! And I guess by the time this video comes out, it's probably too late to change your costume, so maybe next year? Do you wanna know another strategy? Well, here's my secret. You have to talk your way into more candy. This is what you do. You dress up as a doctor or nurse and put your local children's hospital logo on your chest. You'll carry 2 pillowcases around. I took pillowcases to go trick-or-treating, not those plastic pumpkin things. I don't know if anyone else did that. And I would advise to go to the next neighborhood over. Make sure no one knows who you really are, because to use this trick, you're gonna have to lie. Anonymity is key, so every time you go to someone's door, you tell them these exact words. Oh, this? My mom works at a children's hospital, and I wanted to get some candy for the kids that couldn't go trick-or-treating. Some of those kids, man. Because of their cancer, they can't have any Milk Duds or Whoppers. I don't know if they'll make it till Thanksgiving. 90% of the time, parents will give you a big handful of candy for the kids. And I guess now looking back at it, you could say it's wrong and sinful, but I'm not actually stealing from those kids, I'm just using them to get more candy. And lastly, my last trick to get more candy, you know those please take one candy bowls? So those are my tricks in getting more candy for Halloween. Do you have any more ideas? Tell me below in the comments. Also, I draw comics. I don't know if you knew that. Starting 9th grade was probably the worst decision I have ever made. I didn't go to a public school, I went to a preparatory school that made us wear uniforms, wake up early, and use lockers. And I went to the school with my twin sister, and we had every single class together. So since we didn't know anyone, we sat next to each other in all our classes. And as the school year went on, we got to know more people and we all became friends. Soon everybody in the 9th grade knew who we were. But one day, it was about the second to last week of school, and we just finished our classes, and we were both 14, so you know, we were still kind of weird, puberty and stuff. And I say, Faith, you know what would be funny? If you bump into someone, and then say, oh sorry, let me apologize with my sympathy rub. And then I proceeded to rub my sister's arm, slowly and gently, because that's what a sympathy rub is. I mean, it's not my best work, but I think it's funny. But there was a teacher walking by who didn't think it was that funny. It was a middle school teacher, so we've never seen her before, and she asks us, hey, do you two know the school's policy on PDA? And my sister responds with, yep, and starts to walk away. Oh, I'm not done. The teacher then began to give us a lecture about why we have to keep our feelings for each other outside of school. She said stuff like, I know you're both young and in love, and, but your hormones are all out of whack, and now it's not a time to be going steady with someone. So apparently this teacher saw us sit next to each other in classes, walk with each other in the hallway, and eat lunch together, and naturally assumed that we were madly in love. Me and Faith looked at each other, and we were both thinking, do we tell her? You know, we probably should have. but we didn't want to make the teacher feel awkward or anything, so we just kept our mouths shut and nodded. And I remember while this was happening, my friend Anthony walked by, and, knowing we were both brother and sister, was extremely confused why we were being told not to show our feelings for each other in school. And we weren't even making out or anything. We just did everything together, so I don't know what the teacher's problem was. So after the teacher was done talking, I thought it was extremely funny and wanted to tell everyone in the whole school, but Faith was utterly embarrassed and wanted to keep quiet. Down the hall, Anthony was waiting for us and asked if we got called out for PDA. I told him my sympathy rub joke, and Faith made him swear to never tell anyone. And this would probably be the end of the story, but the next day, while our geometry teacher was teaching a different class, the teacher that called us out came in and said, "Hey, do you know the blonde curly hair girl with a boyfriend that looks just like her?" I'm sorry, but just... I wanted to make this video about 6 months ago, but then I thought, no, I'll save it for Halloween because of theming or whatever. I don't know. Shut up, I don't have to explain myself. I'm excited to tell you this story. Wow! So, haunted houses. I think haunted houses, they're fine, but I don't want to brag or anything, but since the age of 16, I've never been in a haunted house that I was scared of. Granted, all the haunted houses I've been in were free and didn't have me sign a waiver, and when I was little, sure, I was terrified of haunted houses. It's just... I don't know, I think I kept telling myself that none of it was real, and then when I grew up, I just always knew that none of it was real. When you can see the severed hand is made of plastic, all the tension you previously had is kinda lost. And sure, I still get startled at the jump scares, but since they don't stab you or anything, it's always awkward afterwards. Hello? I'm just gonna walk this way now. Or maybe I don't get scared because I don't feel emotions anymore, who knows? But there's one haunted house experience during my senior year of high school that I will never forget because it was probably one of the most traumatizing things I've ever seen. I haven't seen that many traumatizing things. And also, I won't forget it because I'm about to immortalize the experience by making a YouTube video about it. All right, my senior year, I was part of my school's drama club. I was a theater kid. And the clubs at the school got to help do some of the activities for the school's fair. The whole school was putting on a fair, probably to raise money or something. It seems that schools are always in need of some extra cash. Have you ever noticed that? So the football team got to do the dunk tank, the band kids face painted or something, I don't remember, it's not important. And the theater kids, since the fair is in October and that's Halloween's month, we got to put on a haunted house. Cool! The drama club was separated into groups, and we would each be a scary part in the haunted house. And we got to make the haunted house inside the school, so we had a lot of area to work with, and there was a lot of space in between each scary thing. My group, what we did is we dressed up as vampires, but scary vampires, and we sat at this dinner table and we decorated it with fake organs, goblets filled with blood, red Kool-Aid, and we had this freshman girl that was laying on top of the table, and we put fake organs coming out of her, to make it look like we were eating her because vampires eat people. Okay, saying that out loud, I realize that doesn't make any sense. Why would a group of vampires be eating someone? They don't do that. We put a yellow shade over the light above for a good spoopy atmosphere. We had a smoke machine, some ambient Halloween music playing. Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Our group was pretty legit. Whenever a group of people walked by, we would just silently stare at them, and then the freshman on the table would scream at the top of her lungs. She was really good at screaming, by the way. And since we had so much space in between each of the scary parts, when they walked past us, we would get up and chase them. Yeah, it was fun. Okay, so you have to understand that theater kids are very loud, extroverted people. I need to tell you about this one kid who was in my vampire group. We'll just name him Balake. Yeah, Balake. Balake and I were both part of the school's improv club, so we were both pretty funny people, except Balake was just out there. He was loud. It seemed he was just always screaming. I didn't have any classes with him, but he was obviously the high self-esteem class clown kind. I think that everyone at some point in their life should work in a fast food or retail job. Not to improve their work ethic or anything, but so that everyone knows what it's like to have that kind of job. They wouldn't work in fast food their whole lives, maybe just for 6 months, just so they get a feel for it. So with that, let's talk about the time when I worked in fast food. I used to work at a very small local sandwich shop. I don't know if any of you guys heard of it. It's called Subway. Our spokesperson was in the news recently. I don't know if you guys look at the news. Did you hear he got beat up in jail? I kind of want to meet the person who beat up Jared, more than Jared. Not in person. We wouldn't meet in person, obviously. But like, he would be behind bars, and I would just look at the guy who beat up my spokesperson. How many people get to say that they beat up a fast food icon who is also a pedophile? Only one, and it's that guy. Okay, but seriously guys, working at Subway was probably one of the most easiest jobs out there. I don't know why I'm about to complain about it to you guys. We got free cookies. And you know the comic with the Subways in Hell? I was actually working at Subway when I made that comic. I just think it adds sort of a little bit of value to it. You see, the owners, who are husband and wife, can you believe it, of the Subway I worked at owned 2 stores. One of the Subway stores was in a Walmart on an Indian reservation, because we have those in Arizona, and the other Subway was the Subway I worked at. And since the Walmart store was always busy, the owners would spend 99% of their time at that store. So I didn't really have a boss most of the time. On the off chance the owners did show up, they would just pick up some food and then they would make sure I was making sandwiches the right way. And every time I made a sandwich in front of them, they would always find something wrong with it, without fail. You put on too many olives. Do you know, according to the Subway formula, you're only supposed to put on 8 olives on a foot long? 8! One for every other bite. That's just ridiculous. Can you imagine someone just counting out 8 olives? Nobody does that. I usually worked the closing shift, and at the end of the night, we would turn the alarm and we'd have 60 seconds to get out of the store. But one time I had the opening shift, so I unlocked the door to get in with my key, and the alarm went beep, beep, meaning I had 60 seconds to turn it off. No big deal, right? I've turned the alarm on all the time when I was closing. So I go to the little control panel and I type in the code and nothing happens. The beeping is still there and the clock is still ticking down. So I go, okay, I'm going to press each button very carefully. I'm going to make sure each button makes a beep when I press it. Beep.
Piñatas. I love piñatas. It's perfect for when you want to beat something to death, but also want candy. Why do they make it look so pretty? Most of the time when you're playing with it, it looks like this.
Alex, what are you doing here?
I just wanted to know what it would feel like to have 1 billion subscribers.
No, get out. Go back to It's Alex Clark and wait your turn.
Okay, fine.
Don't come back unless you have cake. Piñatas. Here's a story that involved me when I was a first grader in a piñata. I don't know if any of you guys did this in your elementary school, but when it was someone's birthday, that kid would bring treats for the whole class. And then the whole class would take 10 minutes, stop everything they're doing, and then pass out the pastries to everyone. How come we don't do that anymore? In high school, depending on the teacher, they don't do anything for your birthday party. And in college, heck, no one even talks to you. So I have a twin sister, and we were in the first grade together. So when it came time for our birthdays, we had to celebrate 2 birthdays. It's double birthdays. We gotta do something extra special. My mom had an idea. Let's do a piñata. But since my mom is super cheap, she decided to make her own piñata out of paper mache. And it turns out making homemade piñatas are easy. All you gotta do is blow up a balloon, cover it in paper mache, wait for it to harden, pop the balloon inside, cut a hole open, fill it with candy, cover the hole back up with paper mache, paint it, and then beat it senseless. Simple. So my mom went above and beyond and made a sphere piñata for our entire first grade class. Me and my sister's birthday is towards the end of the school year. And in elementary school, that last week of school, you don't even do anything. It doesn't even count. So hopefully my teacher wasn't too mad at what was about to transpire. My sister and I were just pumped the whole school day, because we helped build the piñata, we helped paint it, and now we're gonna help beat it to pieces. The teacher eventually called out,
"All right, class, James's mom made us a piñata, so we're all gonna go outside and whack it."
Oh yes, this was perfect! It was our birthday, we got to beat up a piñata at school, I have the best mom. Me and my sister got to swing first, because we're the birthday boys. We didn't end up breaking it, but I wasn't mad. Let these other non-birthday people have some fun. I'm a generous guy. Hey, in the end, I just want the candy. So the next guy goes up, then the next, then the next, and then eventually everyone got a turn. Well, a piñata's supposed to break, ain't it? Apparently, my mom was a little precautious and put a few extra layers of paper mache on the piñata so that way everyone would get a turn. Yay! And apparently she also overestimated the strength of paper mache and first graders. But did this teacher let the whole class down? No. You know what she did? Bless her soul. She said,
"All right, class, we're all gonna take turns throwing this against a curb."
I mean, what other option did this teacher have? She could have stabbed it, but I don't think that would have been very fun. Looking back, she might have just been wanting to speed up the process, but as a group of 7-year-olds, we had a blast. Also, I'm glad the piñata was not in the shape of an animal, because imagine how traumatizing that would have been as 7-year-olds to curb stomp a unicorn. We would have been like little tiny mob bosses. All right, Tony, you ready to give up the candy? Such a shame you feel that way, Tony. Bruce?
I'm glad my mom was so thoughtful putting all those layers of paper mache in the piñata because we all got a turn throwing the piñata on the ground. I remember getting so into it. I remember jumping up in the air before smashing the piñata onto the pavement. Nothing was going to get in between me and whatever candy was in there. Pretty soon, though, we were all getting pretty antsy. Everyone was like, I was promised there'd be candy. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity of beating this piñata into the ground, we got a rip. I don't know